Hi everyone, this is Taylor Cunningham from Trustpilot. We are just waiting for a few more people to join and we will get started in just a couple of minutes. Thanks. Hi everyone, we are just going to wait a couple more minutes for a few more attendees to arrive and we'll get started very shortly. Thanks. Hi everyone, this is Taylor Cunningham. I am the Global Director of Customer Marketing at Trustpilot, and thank you all so much for attending our webinar today. So we are thrilled to be joined today by Lightspeed. Lightspeed is one of Trustpilot's customers. We have really enjoyed working with them, and we are thrilled to be having their CMO, Laith Murad, joining us for this webinar, as well as our customer marketing, our success manager, Charlie Recalde, here from Trustpilot. Just to give you a quick intro, since I know we have people on the line who are familiar with Lightspeed and Trustpilot, and not necessarily both. Trustpilot is an online review community that helps consumers make better purchasing decisions and businesses showcase and improve their service. There are 35 million reviews on Trustpilot.com of more than 188,000 businesses worldwide, and Trustpilot is quickly becoming the world's leading independent review site. Lightspeed is the leading provider of cloud-based POS software. On average, Lightspeed retail and restaurant customers increase their revenue by 20% in their first year. And they have nearly 50,000 customers worldwide. So again, we're really excited to have Laith Murad join us today for our webinar. We're going to be covering quick e-commerce tips for this holiday season. Just some quick housekeeping. If you have questions during the webinar, you can use the questions panel in GoToWebinar. We will be answering questions at the end of the session. If we run out of time or we don't get to your questions, we will follow up with you via email. And we will also be sending out an email to everyone who attends and everyone who registered with a link to the recording of this session and some follow-up materials for you. So all that being said, I am going to hand this over to our two co-hosts today. Like I said, we have Laith Murad, he's the CMO of Lightspeed, and Charlie Recalde, he's the Customer Success Manager here at Trustpilot. Thanks so much to the two of you for being here today, and Laith, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Taylor. So hi everyone, this is Laith Murad. I'm the CMO of Lightspeed. Lightspeed is focused on retail independent businesses, POS and e-commerce, as well as restaurant solutions. I've spent 25 plus years working in retail with major brands, omni-channel e-commerce solutions, and I'm thrilled to be here today to really help some businesses succeed this holiday season.
Great. Thank you, Laith. And hey, everyone, this is Charlie Recalde here. I work on Trustpilot strategic accounts team, taking care of our largest partners here. Really here to talk to you guys about all the different ways that you can specifically leverage reviews when it comes time to the busy holiday season. And with that said, we'll jump right into it. So the agenda here, we're going to really cover all parts of the customer lifecycle and journey, starting with pre-purchase. How do you really get their attention in the first place and get them over to your business? From there, once you've got their attention, how can you maximize the likelihood that they're going to buy and convert? And finally, once you do get that sale, how do you handle that post-sale process to drive loyalty and get customer feedback? And as Taylor mentioned at the end, we're going to have time for some questions as well. So we're going to start with the pre-purchase, which is, as mentioned, really right at the beginning of the funnel. The customer may or may not know who you are. You're competing for traffic in a number of different channels. So how do you get their attention? So, Laith, I'm going to hand it over to you. I know that you've got some really interesting tips here about, especially from your standpoint, on some simple things people can do on this pre-purchase side to help get themselves discovered.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. So for me, what's really most critical, and I think it's a frustration of every consumer out there, is discoverability. And that means making sure your business name is out there, you're clear, your hours, if you have a physical location, the hours of operation, it's updated, the contact information, a phone number, making sure that this is all easily found and discovered when you go to someone's site and see it online. I think that's the first step in establishing validity of a business. It's also the first step in making sure your customers know that this is a serious business and that you can really trust that you're going to be able to do some business with this company. And that's where I would start, Charlie.
Awesome. And from a search side in particular, it sounds like, Laith, that's all really revolving around search. Would you say in your experience that when it comes to kind of step one of that customer journey, that our company's putting attention on search should be the #1 priority there?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think about it, we're trying to interact with customers who are in a buying cycle or in an exploratory cycle, or many times out in the physical world and see something and want to look it up on their phone. And so obviously they'll most likely use Google or use some terms, possibly Facebook, and we can get into that. But looking up a product, seeing what it is, so I think it's really critical to have yourself known on search, but also to make sure that you have the right products and the descriptions correct. And I think that's something that people miss out, is they don't actually always have the great descriptions of the products or what they're selling, so that Google can recognize when you're searching for a wool sweater that you use the words wool sweater as opposed to merino sweater 100%, and Google doesn't see that. And so making sure you're clear with your search descriptions and make sure you have accurate photography and it's beautiful will really help. And then I'm sure you can talk about adding trust marks or reviews or stars to that product or category or store will also drive quite a bit of difference.
Yeah, and completely agree, Laith. And to your point, if everyone can see the example we have here on the left, when it comes to reviews, there's a couple simple ways to leverage the star content within search, which will help you drive that traffic, both in your paid ads, which you can see at the top there via Google Seller Ratings, and also organically, which I would argue is even more valuable, because at the end of the day, that traffic is free. I think if you can get free traffic, everyone would take that over paid traffic any day. So leveraging the reviews to achieve those rich snippet stars, which you see here on the search listing, for a search as simple as phone insurance, right? You're trying to capture that traffic, and whatever you can do, especially to have these shiny stars there to get more people's attention and get them on site to start, really that main buying journey. Once you can better control the process, those are all top recommendations from our side. And Laith, you mentioned social media. Do you have a couple quick pointers there on what people can do to maximize that from a pre-sale side?
Yeah, so social media is rapidly becoming your second website in many ways. So Facebook often acts as your second website. It's a great place to make sure you've got announcements, you can share content, you can announce new arrivals into your store, you can engage with your customers. So making sure you have a Facebook presence, I would say, is the most important, as Facebook is 60% of all social media referrals comes from Facebook. Instagram, if you have a highly visual product assortment, is really important. It's fun, but it can't be the same post as Facebook. You've really got to look to Instagram as a way to express your own identity of a store and a brand and really get creative. A lot of people on Instagram love to see some of the behind the scenes. So if you have great shots of product, if you can get from the manufacturer, you can get some, how it was made, or even any stories. Instagram, people, the customers and people on Instagram love stories, and they love them visually, and they love them to be articulated. So Instagram's important. And for other retailers, I think it's also important as we think of the holiday season. Pinterest will become a bigger impact this holiday season for retailers in e-commerce, especially as people start to put together wish lists and gift ideas. And here's where you can actually start to use some of the social media platform like Pinterest to put together complementary products and gift ideas, and create a bunch of different boards on Pinterest, but really make sure you're being seen. Most critically, you have to maintain all of them. You can't just use one and forget it. You have to keep updating it and keep collaborating. But when someone can discover you through Google search, then Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, you're in a really solid situation, and then you add the stars, and they know that this is a business that they would want to, that they can trust, and that the goods they order will be shipped and delivered.
Absolutely, and I think the last thing I wanted to touch on here is everyone can see the examples on the right, is at the same time, Laith, to your point, that people are very visual and they're looking for you everywhere. If any company is running Facebook ads or Instagram ads or anything like that, our best recommendation from that front is consider using some of your review content within those ads. As you can see in these examples here, in my experience working with other partners, especially in the retail space, these ads are going to get more expensive, right? Everyone's bidding on the same terms this time of year during the holidays. So whatever you can do to stand out and get those clicks and get that traffic is going to be big. So consider using a 5-star review that talks about how great your products are, how great your service is. It's not hard to do. Our team will definitely be happy to help you guys set that up, and it is, in my experience, usually leads to some really nice conversion increases.
Great.
Cool. So moving on to from browse to buy, right? So congrats, you have gotten them to your site. Now, how do you win the business? So Laith, I know you have some really good pointers here on what people can do to, once they have the person on site, to help get them across the line.
Yeah, so I think, I'll start with something as simple as photography. I think it is the most undervalued, most overlooked item when you're setting up your website. And I think it is that way because people think we need to just, get pictures up and move fast. And it's really critical when you get to a website, when you start to see the beautiful photography, the cleanliness, it's not cluttered, you're not taking it on a table that has other stuff on it. When I see that, I realize that those details, if it didn't matter in the photography, it doesn't translate into the actual purchase process and experience with the store. And so we have to understand that when you take beautiful photography, and I'm not talking about professional photography, I'm saying just make sure it's clean, make sure you've got clean backgrounds, it's not messy, it's not dirty, and it's a couple different angles of products also increase some of the conversions because no one wants to just see one angle. If they're trying to replicate the in-store experience in many ways, so they almost want to turn a product with their hand. And so you have to think that way. And when you focus on photography, that's great. And then clear, concise descriptions, not long-winded, are really, really helpful. It really starts to drive people to say, oh, I get it, I see it, it looks beautiful, it's inspirational or aspirational, and it's clear in the description. That's something that I'm very interested in. And I think that's, I would say, is one of the most critical things to success in e-commerce.
Absolutely. And also to piggyback on that, I think you make a good point that when it comes to retail in person versus online, the big difference is that, that kind of feeling of more of a personal experience when you're in store, you have someone to talk to, like you said, you can hold the product, spin it around. But I think everyone should really keep in mind and leverage the fact that in a store, there's no real way to show off what other customers think. You're not going to hang 700 reviews under that great sweater about all the great things people are saying. It just doesn't work like that. However, online, you have this sandbox to show off all this great content. So I can't stress enough, as once you have those beautiful photos that Laith talked about, make sure you put in there how much customers love that particular item or, your service as a whole, because at the end of the day, that's what people are looking for. They're looking for affirmation. They're looking for that social proof from others that, yeah, this is going to work for me, or they're going to take care of me if something goes wrong. So I can't stress enough that in addition to those simple descriptions and, really clean photos, if you can get some review content there, because it is definitely not going to hurt, it's only going to help.
Yeah, and if I can elaborate one more on that, Charlie, is, in store, the associate you're relied on the associates to introduce you to complementary items, to say, oh, this scarf would look great with that shirt, or, this accessory with that toy. In the digital world, in e-commerce, you're actually able to surface it automatically, and digitally. And so finding and showing related products is a really great add-on to increase the basket size, to increase the average order value, or AOV, and really allow customers to feel like they're getting a great experience because they're putting together an entire outfit versus a product or an entire gift as we think of the holidays coming up.
Absolutely. And to that point, from a checkout side, right, so somebody gets the stuff in their cart, what do we see when it comes to checkout? I know that abandonment rates Laith can be on the higher side. I think you've got some more figures there and potentially some tips to help get people across the line once they actually have started the checkout process itself.
Yeah, so, I continue to relate it back to the physical world, in that at the end of the day, we're all physical humans, and so we go through the same process. And much like you go into a store and you pick up items you may not purchase, online we see 60 to 80%, depending on what you look at. So call it 70% of people abandon a cart after they've added to a cart. And so, in the world where that's happening, what are some of the things that we can think about? So one is reassurance that the product quality is there. Reassurance that if you change your mind, shipping is, if it's free return shipping, it's those three simple words: free return shipping, or no questions asked, customer service, 24/7, things like that, that reassure them that their purchase is going to make they're going to be comfortable with the purchase they make, and confident that if it doesn't work out, whether it's a gift or something for themselves, that they're able to return it in an easy and simple manner. It's not just about able to return, it's simple, fast, and easy. And I think those are some words that I would use: simple and easy, free returns if you offer that, or simple and easy returns. Make someone confident that you're not going to step on something and have to really call customer service, wait on the phone for 25 minutes just to ask for a return, that the company is really honoring that level of service.
Yeah, for sure. And also, as everybody probably knows, I don't think there's anything more powerful than having another customer convey that message for you. As good as it looks to have something that says simple, easy returns on your site, if you can at the same time have right next to that a few reviews from actual customers that talk about how easy those returns were and how great the customer service was. It was easy to get a hold of someone. The good thing is, for Trustpilot, assuming you're asking your customers to leave reviews pretty consistently, you're going to have a lot of content. You're going to have a few different types of messaging to choose from. So my recommendation would be to go through the system, tag those reviews, use the tagging functionality, tag them for checkout or shopping cart, and have those specific reviews that convey the messaging that Laith just basically said. Get that across to others. That way, that is a very targeted message as people are moving through that process, and they feel even more comfortable, as they are moving through and eventually, hopefully, putting in their card information, completing the purchase. But in the chance that they do not complete the purchase, like Laith said, it sounds like there's a 70+% chance that may happen. The best recommendation that we have really comes from an abandonment side. So one thing that we've seen work really successfully, and I know Laith can probably talk to this even further, is sending an abandonment email, right? I'm sure we've all gotten this from Amazon or wherever. Hey, we noticed you left this in your cart. One partner of ours, New York Dress, they sell, as you may have guessed it, dresses. They do a pretty good job of it. And what you can see is they send the email, as you can see in this example on the left, is a whole email. Hey, we noticed you left this in your cart. What they did, which we zoomed in on for you, is they actually placed a trust box directly into their email, which talks about how easy it was to place an order. So again, kind of that shipping, that service, and also the quality of the product. A lot of beautiful dresses. So they've been measuring this, and their latest increase on these, the conversions of these emails, is about 220% higher from just adding this review. That again, gets across the same point that Laith was mentioning. How do you just get another customer to give this to get this messaging across? And it's a simple thing to do, and I can't stress this is definitely something you should try if you're already doing something like this kind of campaign already.
Yeah, that's great. And if you, to add to that, if you do, implement, some great language and lower your cart abandonment from 70 to 60, and then you implement this and you lower it again another 20%, that's significant revenue and significant number of orders that you can increase with, a couple easy steps.
Absolutely. Perfect. So that is the essentially the entire buying journey. And now, assuming you've got this far, you've got the sale. Congratulations. But obviously, what I would argue is the most important step here is that final post-sale process, which comes down to communicating with the customer, driving loyalty, getting feedback to improve. The reason I say this is the most important is because when it comes down to your business, you're only as good as your last mistake, in the sense that if something goes wrong and you're not trying to fix it, then you're just kind of standing still, in my opinion. So you're getting a lot of feedback from reviews and what have you. There's a lot of different things that we can help you do to really make sense of that and understand how you can improve and how you can continue to satisfy the bulk of the customers that are already satisfied. So Laith, when it comes to the post-sale process, I think you've got one really good thing here that we wanted to share about how do we make this a really personal experience for them, to kind of drive that loyalty up and make them feel special.
Yeah, I think it's, in the world of, Amazons, in the world where, major big boxes are, trying to, grow their e-commerce, some things that some people can do that really stand out and makes them realize that you're dealing with a real company with real people is a small little thank you note. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me when I've ordered something from, a small e-commerce site, and I get, the package. It comes beautifully. It gets delivered. It's on time. It's, to my expectations. But inside is a little note from the manager or the owner that said, "Hey, thank you, Laith, for your purchase. We hope you love it." 2 sentences, probably took him 15 seconds, right, with a little signature. It makes me realize that I'm dealing with real people, and I want to deal with that real person, and it makes it a real personal experience. And I tell people about it. I post it on Facebook. "Hey, this was a great purchase. You guys should shop here. Look at the nice note I got." And so you're really creating people to evangelize your business and really go out there and promote it. And small thank you notes, we don't get a lot of them. When they're thank you and it's in an email form, we often say like, "Oh, well, we emailed a thank you," but that's not personal, that's digital, and people recognize that. So if you're going to send something, a little note really goes a long way. And we have a customer etiquette in Montreal, and he personally signs every single one that goes out the door, and I think it's a great way for him to connect with the customers and show, hey, if you've got a problem, this is the level of service we offer. We're that special. And so I would say that's one of the, a real secret that people can do if you can execute it. It really goes a long way.
Absolutely. And I also, I think it's great to note, I think you had mentioned to me earlier about being able to give people a way to share that and encourage that, the sharing of that content with others once you do ideally do something great for them.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can put in pre-printed things that say, "Hey, take a picture of yourself." So don't just say like post it on Facebook or join us on Facebook, but hey, take a picture in this outfit, use this consistent hashtag, whatever it may be, and post it on Facebook. And then as a company, you can go on and thank the customer, like it, or share it back out, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. But what you're doing is you have to give them an action to do. You can't just say post it on Facebook. You have to say, "We'd love to see your photo. Take a picture with your new items or with your gift. Share it." And people can have a lot of fun with it. You can do promotions around it, but encourage them to share. Sometimes we forget to just ask. And I think when you ask and a customer has a great experience, and imagine getting that thank you note, you're going to feel like you want to. It's not just you're obligated. You feel you want to share and you want to help that business. And I think that's what we're trying to dig into with customers as you grow this business and build that next repeat business purchase behavior.
Exactly. It's really all about creating those raving fans, right? And when it comes to that, you get somebody's attention, you send them a thank you note. Like you said, you're asking them to act. The next thing that we most recommend is, again, this is for many reasons, is to then ask that customer for a review. So with Trustpilot, usually you're going to have some kind of automatic collection set up where after X number of days from that purchase, you send them an email, ask them to leave you a review. It's a simple request. It takes them probably 2 or 3 minutes to write you a review. Like Laith said, ideally, they're very happy with the experience. They're usually pretty positive in my experience. And what that then gives you is feedback from as many customers as possible. It gives you a chance to hear from all customers, both the happy ones and ideally the not so happy ones. The reason I say ideally is back to my point that, no business is perfect. Your customers don't expect you to be perfect. They're very much trying to find some of that negative feedback to understand that, look, if something does go wrong, how are you going to take care of me? And when it comes to that, look at that content, look at the reviews, figure out where you went right, and also figure out where you went wrong and how you can improve. And also when it comes to these reviews, I think Laith made a good point. When it comes to the referral codes or promo codes, take a look at what they're saying. You'd be surprised how many reviews you will get, or you probably already are getting, where somebody says pretty, unsolicitedly, hey, I would absolutely recommend. And from there, if somebody says, hey, I'd absolutely recommend XYZ business, you are absolutely doing yourself a disservice if you don't reach out to the customer and say, hey, we really appreciate the review. Here's a referral code. Send it to a friend. You get 10% off. They get 10% off. The person already told you they were going to basically go be a raving fan for you anyway. Give them the tools to do it. It's more money in your pocket, and it's a very simple thing to do. Look through the reviews, figure out who the promoters are, and just have those referral campaigns ready to go.
Yeah, and I also think, Charlie, that this creates the cycle again of the pre-purchase behavior, because you've got the review, and now when people come back on the site, they see, back to your point, they see the fans. Amazon has taught us to look at customer reviews as important as an expert review. So instead of looking to a CNN or, some of these majors for their authoritative view on a product, they look to other customers. And so by getting these reviews, you just add validity to your site and validity to the service you offer your customers. And so it is important to really make sure, if their experience has been great, and even if it hasn't, that you're getting it and you're understanding and you're adjusting. And then don't forget to communicate back out. If you get a lot of comments back about your shipping policies, maybe you change them. Well, tell everyone about it. Don't just change them and say all future customers should know. Remind your existing customers that you listened and you took action, and I think that's also really important.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Don't be afraid to let people know when you've identified something that you can do better, and to Laith's point, they're going to appreciate it, right? It's going to let them know that you took the time to read the review, that they took the time to write. So those are all really good points, and that pretty much sums up the entire customer journey here. So Taylor, I'm going to pass it back to you. I think we had a couple questions come in already.
Yeah.
Anyone else has any, please put them in.
Great. Thanks, Charlie and Laith, for that great discussion. Reminder to everyone on the line, you can submit questions using the questions pane in GoToWebinar. We will try to answer as many as we can right now, but if we don't get to you, we will follow up with you via email. Okay, first question here I have, let's give this to you, Laith. The question is, how often should I post on social media for my business?
That's a great question. It's one we often get asked. It's one, as a retailer, you often have to think through. So whatever I would say is, no matter how often, if you're going to go on social media, you need to make sure you're active. Nothing's worse than seeing a social media site, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, where it's a post, 2 posts in 3 days and then no post for 3 weeks. So be consistent. I would say Facebook, you should be there at least every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, especially as we go in the holiday season. Look for posts that are different. I wouldn't just say it's posting about your store. It could be highlighting a product. It could be highlighting, new gift ideas, sharing content, but definitely stay active and then engage your customers. I would focus in, again, on, making sure on Facebook. If you're going to be on Instagram, make sure, again, it's 1 to 3 times weekly, get some stories together, and be active. And then Pinterest, set up boards, but don't let them become stale. Nothing's worse than that. So as you get new products in, add to the board, share to it. So really, you have to make sure you've dedicated the resources. Social media is a great way to get your ambassadors out there, to get people who are major fans of your brand, get traffic and build your business. And so, embrace it. It's not just about posting a sentence here and there. It's really about listening, learning, and sharing content that they all would see valuable.
Great, thanks, Laith. Next question seems like a good one for Charlie. Is there such a thing as showing off reviews too often? I'm worried about looking like we're bragging.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've actually gotten this several times from my own clients, and I can tell you that in my experience, I've never come across a company where their customers said, look, like, we're tired of you telling us how much your other customers love you. I don't think that's really something you have to worry about. Kind of the point of this whole presentation, I think if you can leverage that content throughout the entire customer journey, be it from the very beginning of that pre-sale process of having a great review in your ad that actually gets their attention. They land on your site, they're looking at your products, they see those great photos, and below it, they see some really good customer content. Again, kind of reaffirming to them why they should be choosing you, and all the way through to checkout, and even afterwards, content that affirms how good the service is, the shipping, the returns, whatever it may be. I don't think you can really show them off too much. It's your hopefully really positive feedback. You earned it, so don't be afraid to show it off.
Great, thanks. What about this one for you, Laith? How often should I email customers post-purchase to keep in touch?
Well, I think, we've talked about sending thank yous. I think, there's no real great rule of thumb. Email, has become less and less personal over the years. And so, I think definitely talking about new products, sending someone something, but get consistent. So if you're going to send a weekly newsletter or a bi-weekly or monthly newsletter that tells them all what's happening, whether it's events, new products, new releases, things you have in your store, that's a great way. And then interject it with, whether you have new stock or new inventory come in, when you have a promotion to be sent out. There's no timing. If you've got a promotion, you got a promotion. Everyone wants to hear about it. If you've got new policies or free shipping, it's a great way to send it. Don't, just because someone doesn't open an email doesn't mean that they weren't interested. It just means perhaps we were busy, perhaps we were having dinner and things got caught up. So, a reminder email is not going to hurt anything. And so my advice is get consistent with some kind of a newsletter, and then intermittently send new product updates when you have them, new stock inventory, abandoned cart as someone's shopping, that's important, and then any promotions you have.
Great, thanks, Laith. And I think we have time for one more question. This is a good one to end with because I think I'd like to hear both of your answers to this one. Our team is already so busy getting ready for the holidays. If we only have time to do one thing that you mentioned today, what would it be? And Charlie, I'll have you start.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and especially this time of year, we hear that a lot. It's peak season. People only have so much time to do this stuff. So I'd answer that probably with a question of ask yourself what your highest priority is and go from there. So if it's a matter of driving more traffic to your site in that pre-sales process, take a look. If it's as simple as, you're already running social ads or display ads, ask your designer or whoever's going to be doing it on your side. Just ask them to take a 5-star review, drop it in there, show the Trustpilot logo to give a little validation. Put that in. There's no heavy lifting. There's no development work of any kind. It's very easy to do. You could also consider dropping one of the widgets on site to get those gold stars in search. But if you say, we've got the traffic, we're just having a hard time converting, our abandonment rates are pretty high, consider putting reviews in your cart, or even simpler, again, no development work required, would just be go into that email. We have some email-friendly widgets, a couple of lines of code, drop it into an abandoned email you're already sending, and that shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes, and hopefully will have a nice impact for you from there.
Great. And what about you, Laith? What would you recommend if they have to choose one thing?
So great question to whomever asked it. To me, my answer would be keep it simple. It's really a season where there's so much going on. It's time where people are so busy and it's hard to focus, and you're so distracted, and there's so much noise out there that if you're going to do something, just keep it simple, right? If you're going to run a promotion, don't overcomplicate a promotion by making them jump through hoops. Don't try to make it complicated where no one understands what it is. If you're going to offer free shipping, be clear, free shipping. If you're going to offer free returns, be clear. Descriptions of products. So for me, it's about decluttering and simplifying, and really use those words. I would say use those words on your site. Returns, simple and easy. You don't have to mention the word if they're free or not, but it's simple and easy. It's easy to do business with us. That's what people want to hear, because they don't have time for anything else during this holiday season. And so what they want is clarity that I can do business with you, and I will be thrilled to continue to do business with you, because it's going to be an easy, wonderful experience.
Great. Thanks so much, Laith. And I think that is it as far as questions go. If we did not get to your question, we will be answering that via email over the next, let's say, 24 hours. We will also be sending out an email later today with a recording of this session so that you can go back and listen to it again if you'd like. If you are interested in learning more about Lightspeed and their POS solutions, you can go to lightspeedhq.com. And if you're interested in learning more about Trustpilot and how reviews can help your business, you can go to business.trustpilot.com, and I will include both of those links in our follow-up email later today. Thank you so much to everyone who is on the line, who attended and asked great questions. And thank you so much to Charlie and Laith for your insight today. I wish everybody a great holiday season, very successful for your business, and thanks again. Have a nice afternoon, everybody.